Hello and welcome back to Overlay DFS. I'm your host, Iris Silver. I'm feeling great. I don't know about you, but we got a great show for you today. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal setting. I am still currently traveling throughout the South on a little vacation. I'm currently in Hilton Head, South Carolina, was in Charleston prior to that, and Savannah, and heading to Florida tomorrow and back in LA early next week. So I'll be back in my original setting, which I call the studio, to give you next week's episode in our original spot. So for those of you who are new to the channel and don't know, Overlay DFS is starting the revolution. We are home of the single entry GPP, and people are loving it. I joined the revolution because I was sick and tired of competing on DraftKings and FanDuel against sharks and experts that had over 150 lineups in every single contest. It's impossible to win. You're out of it in the first 5 minutes. So we have a little bit of a different flavor here. I'm going to get into sharing my screen and sharing the matchups in the $109 contest this week on Overlay DFS. We also on overlaydfs.com, and we also have an app in the App Store. You can find it at Overlay Fantasy Sports. So let me go ahead and share my screen here with you guys. As you can see, this week, 109 NFL Week 7 Progressive Contest. It currently has 18 people that are registered. So if you're new, all you got to do is you pick matchups who you like between the two players that are presented. So if you like Russell Wilson against Lamar Jackson, who will have the most total fantasy points, you select that. If you're right, you get a win. If you're wrong, you get a loss, and so on and so forth. All you need to do is you need to finish in the top 10% to win 9 times your buy-in. So that means if there's, let's say, 100 people that play, the top 10 players are going to go ahead and win 9 times their buy-in. And not only that, if you are a perfect 12-0 in your selections, you will go ahead and win the grand prize progressive bonus of $28,000 right now, which is very exciting. I know a lot of people could use that. So make sure when you are you picking these games, take it seriously, because if you do go 12-0, you're going to win the $28,000 right now. And like I said, if you finish in the top 10% of the entries, you're going to go ahead and win $900. So let's talk about some of these interesting matchups here that I think are really intriguing for this week. The first one that jumps out to me is Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy G. As you can see, Aaron Rodgers playing on the road in at home. I don't know, but he's playing Oakland against Jimmy G, who's at Washington. So yeah, he's at home. Aaron Rodgers at home playing Oakland. Jimmy G on the road in Washington playing the Redskins, another junior varsity team here. San Francisco undefeated still after they totally annihilated the Rams on Sunday. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's getting in a little bit back in shape here, back into MVP form. As we all know what happened at the end of that game on Monday night, the Packers got away with I don't know, in my opinion, it was a bad call, but basically what happened was it was an illegal hands to the face penalty on the defense on Detroit. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers got the ball back. Well, kept the ball inside the Detroit territory. They ended up taking it all the way down to about the 2-yard line, 3-yard line, something like that, kicking a game-winning field goal to win the game. If not, they would have had to kick the field goal longer. Not sure if Crosby would have hit it. And not only that, Detroit would have got the ball back with a chance to win the game. So a lot of celebrations there for Green Bay, but a lot of great stuff from Jimmy G and the 49ers this season. So it'll be interesting to see who wins this matchup. Again, like I said, you just decide who's going to have the most total fantasy points between these two players, okay? Between these matchups, Phillip Rivers versus Brissett, who's going to have the most total fantasy points? If you're right, you get a win. If you're wrong, you get a loss. And basically the payout right now throughout the season, it's averaging around 8-4, 7-5 could win the money, the 9X. 8-4 could win the 9X, 9-3 could win the 9X. It just depends how everyone else in the competition and is doing. So you just got to finish in the top 10% of the entries in your contest. Another interesting matchup I want to take a look at here for this Sunday, Saquon Barkley and Dalvin Cook. So I believe Saquon is going to play Still not 100% sure. So if Saquon is going to play, this is an interesting matchup to me. If he's not, this will obviously be taken off the board, and it will be a no. It will not be in your lineup. Your alternate pick will then go ahead and be inserted into your lineup. But Saquon against Arizona, Dalvin Cook against Detroit, both top running backs right now in the league, and both going up against relatively okay, not so great defenses. So it'll be interesting to see who can accumulate the most fantasy points there to get you a win. Excuse me. Next fun matchup I want to talk about, Alvin Kamara versus Michael Thomas. Who is going to have the most fantasy points between the two of them, playing on the same team, playing on the road in Chicago against that really good defense? They have lost some key players on the defensive side of the ball, Chicago, this year. But it'll still be interesting to see Kamara versus Thomas. Who's going to have the most total fantasy points? I don't know which way I would lean. It's really, really tough for me. Another interesting matchup here on the board. Obviously, I love these. Stephon Diggs versus Adam Thielen. Who's going to have the most fantasy points? They're both on the road playing Detroit. Another one that's fun, DeAndre Hopkins versus Julio. That'll be an interesting one as well. And obviously, I always love the Sanu Ridley here and the Fitzgerald Kirk if they're both going to play. And Kittle versus Hooper. Hooper has been a stud this year. He has really come up alive as a number one tight end in the league that you can rely on week in and week out on your fantasy squad. It's mostly because Atlanta is terrible and they have to throw the ball. So a lot of safety net for Matt Ryan, throwing it check down to Austin Hooper, 10 yards, 8 yards. Towards the end of the game, he accumulates a lot of fantasy points. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions about how the game works, anything like that in terms of what you're thinking. Anything that has to do with Overlay, just feel free to reach out. You can find us on at Overlay DFS on Twitter, Instagram, all social media. Obviously, if you're watching this, like and subscribe, please. Let's go ahead and jump into the Super Contest picks for this week. Tonight's game, we got the Chiefs on the road in Mile High, -3 against the Broncos. I like the Chiefs here. It's not a play for me, but I am an interested party in the Chiefs tonight for other reasons. Sunday's matchups, you have the Cardinals on the road in New York playing the Giants. The Giants are laying 3. I like the Cardinals here in this spot. It will be a play for me. I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 on the road with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is my season-long quarterback. For those of you who have been following along, I've been backing the Cardinals pretty much all year, and Kyler Murray is in a great spot here against the lowly Giants defense. Texans on the road against the Colts, not a play for me. Had to pick a spot. It would probably be the Texans getting 1 there. Fun one here. The terrible Dolphins are traveling to Buffalo. They are getting 17. The Bills are laying 17 here. I just don't think the Bills are a team that can lay 17. So if I had to pick a side, it would probably be the Dolphins, but not a play for me here at all. Vikings on the road, laying 1 in Detroit. This is not a play for me. Another tough game, toss-up game, but if I had to play one side or the other, it would be the Vikings -1. Next game on the board, Packers at home, -4.5 against the traveling Oakland Raiders, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me. Not a play for me here. Packers -4.5 would probably be the side I would take, but don't quote me on it. Play here that I really like. Jaguars -3.5 on the road in Cincinnati. That'll be a play for me. As you guys know, I'm pretty much taking the Jaguars almost every week in this contest. Even though we got the hook here, I still think the Bengals are just so beaten up and they just can't hang here with the Jaguars. And it's a great bounce back spot for Minshew after that tough loss last week. Rams on the road in Atlanta, laying 3. Not a play for me here. Rams really got to get this team together here. Falcons are awful, but I'd look to the total here in this game, maybe tease this. Falcons +9 with the over 49. That would probably be a tease there for me if I had to bet it. Not a side though. 49ers -9.5 traveling to Washington to play the Redskins. I would say the 49ers is a good spot here, but I just hate how the body clocks works west to east. I don't know if they can cover the 9.5, even though they look fantastic right now, and the Redskins are awful. I'm always wary about West Coast teams traveling east. So it's not going to be a play for me here. Chargers will be on the road in Tennessee, plus 2.5. Tough game here. Again, I'm not going to pick a side, but it would probably be the Chargers for me, getting 2.5. Ravens traveling to Seattle. Seattle laying 3 at home against the Baltimore Ravens. This will probably be a play for me. I will probably go ahead and take the 3 with the Ravens here, even though it's a kind of an East Coast, West Coast body clock game for the Ravens. I just think it's a bounce back spot for Lamar Jackson. So hopefully he comes to play. And yeah, Ravens for me all day. Let's go. Bears at home, minus 3.5 against the Saints. This is going to be a Saints play for me here. I'm going to go ahead and take the 3.5 with the Saints. They've been good to me as of late. So I'll take the 3.5 against the Bears, who struggle to put up points. And a couple of their, players on defense are a little hurt right now. So that's going to be a play for me. Cowboys at home, minus 2.5 against the Eagles. Sunday night, prime time on NBC. Not going to be a play for me here. But if I had to pick one way or the other, it'd probably be the Eagles catching 2.5 on the road. And the last game on the slate here, we got the Jets at home getting 9.5 against the Patriots on Monday Night Football. This will probably be a play for me. I haven't decided which is the 5th spot for me here in the Super Contest and overlay. But the Jets right here at home catching 9.5 against the Patriots, who haven't really looked that great to me, just their defense. Jets look more alive here with Sam Darnold. I really liked how they played last week. I'm going to go ahead and get the 9.5 at home with the home dog. NYJETS, Jets, 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 Jets. All right, and that's about wraps it up. I'll be back next week in LA, back in front of the original white wall that you guys have known to come to and known to love with my original background. But again, like I said, traveling right now in Hilton Head, and we'll be in Florida tomorrow for the weekend. So I'll be back Tuesday. Anyone has any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. You can find me. I will reach out to you. You can find us at Overlay DFS, or you can find me on Twitter at Ira Silver Magic, I believe, and on Instagram at Overlay DFS. And please hit that like and subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time.